Hey, Jeff Yalden here. I am excited and honored. Orlando Police Department has invited me to speak to their Operation Positive Direction. So I hope you enjoy it, and please consider sharing this with the young people that might be in your life. Ready to rock and roll in a few minutes. All right, Officer Jackson, Orlando Police Department. Thank you for having me. Let's get going. This is awesome. Hey, my friends.
I'm sorry, I kind of muted you.
I'm muted. Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Officer Jackson, and to the Orlando Police Department and the young bloods that are here today, thank you. I'm honored. I'm excited. I'm fired up. What a great way for me to start my Monday. I came in early, and there was a gentleman that was, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes. I love it. I love it. Hey, my friends, I want you to understand something before I even get going. I live with mental illness. I struggle with anxiety. And although I spent 30 years as a motivational speaker traveling all over the world, speaking is actually something that is hard for me. So it takes me about 30 seconds to really get comfortable and fired up. I know this is your spring break, and one of the reasons why I'm really excited is because in life, I think you gotta get up, you gotta dress up, and you gotta show up. That's if you can do that every day, you're gonna do okay. And for you on your spring break to get up for this program and to show up, that's awesome. I want to share with you a couple of tips that I think are really important. And then I want to share with you 5 tips for your overall well-being. And my friends, this isn't about mental health as much as this is about life. And I live with mental illness. I think mental health is as important as your physical health. So, my friends, people come into your life for one of 2 reasons, and it's up to you to understand that. They come into your life to plant seeds or to pick the fruit and walk away. And while we're growing up and we're trying to get to understand ourselves and we're concerned about likes and respect and friends, and when people walk out on us, sometimes we're like, where are you going? What did I do? I thought we were friends. Let me tell you something. If people walk out on you, let them go. Let them go. I get asked all the time, Jeff, what do you think is one of the most important things that young people need to have today to succeed later in life? Self-esteem. I think it's that simple. You have to value yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to respect yourself. And I don't think it's that important where you've come from. It's important where you are. And it's important where you're going. And it's important to think how we're going to get there. So in the short amount of time that we have to spend together today, I want you to think about a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. Here's what I mean by that. So it is spring break and we're off. We're not in school. And for some of us, we might have been like, yo, Officer Jackson, man, this is crazy. It's Monday, my spring break. And you're expecting me to be on this like Zoom positive direction thing? Like, can't we have a break? And then part of you might be thinking, oh, we have a speaker, a boring speaker. This is going to be stupid. Maybe you knew it was about mental health or life, and you're like, I don't need this. That's the fixed mindset. It's like, yo, I already know. I don't need to listen. This is stupid. We go into many things day to day in life where we have this preconceived notion of what we think it's going to be about. And I promise you, when our talk is done, and you might be debriefing about, hey, so what'd you think of Jeff? What'd you think of the talk? Was it different than you expected? And you might be like, whoa, he was like the most different speaker. I wasn't expecting that. That was actually pretty good. He made me think a little bit. Go through life not with the fixed mindset. Go through life with a growth mindset. Like, I'm not expecting you at your age to know who you are or what you might want to do in life, what I do want to share with you is wake up, get up, dress up, show up every single day. And if you can do that, having a purpose in life, just that, is going to lead you to some direction in where your heart wants to take you. So there's a fixed mindset, there's a growth mindset. I want you to have a growth mindset every single day. One of the things that I hear from people a lot is, like, if I can't be perfect, what's the point? My friends, perfection doesn't exist. It never has. It never will. It's okay to make mistakes, and you're going to. You're going to have rejection in life. You're going to have abandonment. You're going to have trauma. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have good, bad, the ugly. Everything is going to happen. But remember, in that growth mindset versus fixed mindset, your mindset plays a significant role. Don't be the victim in life. And for many of you, myself included, we have every reason to be the victim. But it doesn't help, or they build muscle. So everything we go through, good and bad, it shapes you. You become a part of your collective experiences in life. So think about that. We all have experiences, but your mindset determines whether you're the victim or the victor. So the growth mindset, the positive attitude, listen, I'm not going to be the victim. I'm rising up out of this. I'm going to be the victor. I'm not going to choose to be bitter. I'm not going to choose to be angry. I'm going to choose to become better. And part of that is simply this. You want to make that decision for what you want in your life. Are you going to have excuses? Is life not going to be fair? Or are you going to wake up, get up, and dress up and show up? And that's up to you. 4 T's, I call it. When I was growing up, and this isn't about me, so I don't really want to go too much into my story. I struggled in school. School isn't something that was important to me because I was labeled with a learning disability growing up. But as I got older, I come to realize I wasn't learning disabled. I lived with bipolar. And I think a lot of young people today, we're diagnosing, and I don't want to diagnose. I want to treat symptoms, but I want young people and parents to be more aware of the anxiety today, the stress today, being overwhelmed. Growing up today is harder than it's ever been. Parenting is harder than it's ever been. Being a law enforcement officer is harder than it's ever been. But again, you can make excuses, or you can just rise up, accept it. You can be part of the solution, or you be part of the problem. That's what I want. Let's be solution-oriented, not problem-oriented. 3 things I think are really, really, really important. I don't care if you're a young blood. I don't care if you're an old blood. 3 things. Number 1, sleep. I think people need 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep a day. And if you're ugly, you need more. And now I'm not saying you're ugly. Don't get off this and be like, yo, he called us ugly. I'm not saying you're ugly, but maybe you have an ugly attitude. Like you didn't get enough sleep last night and your parents might be like, oh, good morning, honey. And you're like, really? How about shut up forever? No. You don't get enough sleep, you become affected by it. Sleep. Number 2, nutrition. More water, less soda. More protein, less carbs. Number 3, get involved, man. Get involved. These devices, as great as they are, and I think they're the best thing since sliced bread, but if you spend more than 4 or 5 hours a day on your device, you're 70% more likely to have major depression in life. And one of the things that I'm going to share with you guys, 2 of my 4 best-selling books, I'm going to send a PDF to Officer Jackson, the Orlando Police Department, and I want to make sure you guys get a copy of the book. Not depressing. This is my favorite. 45 minutes. You can read it on the toilet. Motivation. It's boom. 1 word that is a factor and an effect in your life. And this is about teen mental health, but it's not a stressor. It's great information and inspirational. But when I'm saying get involved, the more time we're on our devices, we end up spending a lot of time in isolation. Isolation is toxic. Also, I think when we're on our devices, we're comparing ourselves to the fun that other people might be having. There's a chemical that comes through the devices. It's called dopamine. And the dopamine chemical is this. It says to us that I want more. I want more. It's addictive. And so part of this is like we're expecting young people to know what to do and to ask for help when they're being infiltrated by this chemical dopamine that is addictive. We expect adults to know what to do, but it's hard to expect young people who don't know because you only know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. So as great as the device is, have boundaries. Use it for what it's meant to be. Information to keep in touch, but not to live here and to see what everybody else is doing and get so caught up emotionally in that. So put the devices down, get more involved in things like club activities, sports, organizations, volunteer. This is all about finding a purpose in life that is bigger than you and I. So, my friends, you're going to judge me. And that's okay. Because when I first started speaking, I always said that if I can't be honest, I don't want to do this. I want to tell you two things. Number one, my greatest regret in life is that I have had to hurt people to get to know who I am as a man. I told you I live with mental illness. I'm diagnosed with major depression, bipolar type 2, and post-traumatic stress disorder. When I got diagnosed, it was one of the greatest days of my life. And so you might be thinking like, dude, people don't even talk about this, but yet you're saying it was one of the greatest days of your life. Yo, why? When I was growing up, it was always my parents this. It was my teachers this, coaches this, or the police this, friends this, girlfriend that. But there came a time in my life, 8 years ago was probably the biggest moment. I went through a divorce. I was married to this lady for 17 years. And it would have been easy after the divorce to blame it on her, blame it on this. And I think sometimes when we're young, we do that. But I found myself looking in the mirror. And my friends, I challenge you. Spend time looking in the mirror. Get to know who you are. And be comfortable with who you are not. And I remember when I looked at myself in the mirror after this divorce and I said, what role did I have in the failure of this marriage? And that was the moment that I realized that my mental illness is much bigger than I ever respected it to be. And, mental illness today is different than it's ever been. You could be dealing with anger. You could be dealing with stress, anxiety. You're overwhelmed. You might come from a broken family. I don't know what you're going through. But again, we all have a story. And our story is not who we are. Our story today or in our past does not mean that our life is going to be a result of what we might be going through. You choose that. Or you choose to be the victor. Who's the hardest person to get to know? Who's the hardest person to get to know? And whether you might be one of the young bloods in this presentation, you might be Officer Jackson or one of the other officers listening right now. And I guarantee you, they are probably saying the same thing you're saying. Me, ourselves, us. I ask that elementary school, middle school, high school teachers, mental health professionals, professional athletes. I ask that question 90% of the time. People say ourselves. And yet we spend so much time judging other people when we don't spend enough time getting to know us. Now, I want to ask you another question, then I'm going to get to the second thing that I want to tell you. Let's say tonight, Monday night, Maybe you're getting ready for bed 10, 11 o'clock at night. You put on your pajamas. You walk in the bathroom. You're all alone. You walk in the bathroom. You shut the door behind you. You walk up to the bathroom sink. You take your toothbrush, your toothpaste. You put toothpaste on your toothbrush. You brush in your teeth. You look in the mirror. You're all alone. Let me ask you this question. That reflection looks back in the mirror. Do you see a person as beautiful on the inside as the whole world? We see how beautiful you are on the outside. Do you see on the inside a beautiful person as the world sees you on the outside? You know, most people say no, or I don't know. I hate that question. You want to know why I hate that question? Because it exposes the truth. But you know something? If the truth isn't exposed, we can't grow as a person. And so I challenge you to get comfortable being uncomfortable, looking in the mirror. And if you don't like yourself yet, then I want you to spend more time there. And the more time you spend there, the more uncomfortable you are trying to get comfortable, the more you're going to grow little by little every single day. But you've got to value yourself, believe in yourself, know that you are capable and that you have the ability to rise up from situations, circumstances, conditions. So I want to share with you the second thing that you're going to judge me. But I'll tell you something, nobody has judged me harder than I've judged myself. 8 years ago, I want to share with you the moment that my wife and I separated. She was coming out of the hospital after having a full hysterectomy, a very serious procedure for women. I go to the hospital, I pick her up, it's about 9:30 in the morning, and we're driving home. And she had a note from a doctor, 30 days bed rest, no cooking, no cleaning, no work, no exercise, nothing. 30 days bed rest. We pull in the driveway. I get out of the car and I walk over and I open her door and I help her out, and I'm walking her in the house and I bring her to the bedroom and I get her settled. And I ask her, I said, can I get you anything? Your phone, water, the remote, food? She says, no, I'm okay. That was the moment that I walked out on her forever. I hate myself for telling you that. The person that needed me most then, more than any time before, I walked out on her. That is not okay. And so when I tell you that the thing that I hate most is I've hurt people to get to know me.
Yalden, you have muted.
How did I get muted? I'm sorry. There's somebody mute. Okay. I don't know where I lost you on that. I hate that I told you on the day that my wife needed me more than anything, I walked out on her. But that was one of the moments that was the catalyst for me to look at myself and say, I'm the problem. And through me learning to be the man that I aspire to be, and that's every day, I've gone to people I've hurt and I've apologized and I said, hey, listen, I've learned a lot about me and I'm asking for your forgiveness. And most people have forgiven me and some people haven't, but that's okay. Because that's now their issue, it's not mine. My friends, we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. But one of the hardest people to ever forgive is yourself. And I think sometimes we have to do that every single day. I am not the man today that I was last year. I'm not the man today that I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, because every day I'm striving to be a better person. Do I make mistakes? Absolutely. But you know what? I own them. And I stand up right away and I say, I apologize. I made a mistake and I'm seeking to do better. I'm doing better. And so I want to leave you 5 things that I want you to really be aware of. And this is for your overall well-being, not mental health, not physical health. This is about life. Number 1, hope. Don't ever lose hope, no matter what you are going through. But hope comes from having a purpose. And so you might be, Jeff, I'm like 16 years old. What purpose? I don't know what I want to do. Doesn't matter. I don't want you at your age to know what you want to do. You might be inspired to say, I want to be a police officer. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a professional athlete. I don't know what you want to do. But your purpose is to strive to be the best you can today so that it's easier to follow direction to what you think you might want to do. What is your purpose? You get up, you dress up, you show up. Your purpose is you wake up every day and before you even leave your room, you make your bed. I'm not saying you have 4 corners and 45-degree angle military. I'm just saying you take your covers and you put it over your bed. Why is that important? Before anything, you've accomplished one thing. And when you accomplish just one task at the start of the day, you start feeling like, bring it on. I could do everything now. So I want you to have a purpose every day, and that purpose makes it easier to always have hope, to always believe that good things will happen. Number 2, I don't want to sound like a police officer, your parents or teachers or coaches, but personal responsibility. I'll tell you a story that relates to you. My nephew, Gus. Gus is 16 years old. He plays basketball for IMG in Bradenton, Florida. He's 6'11". He's got a 7'4" wingspan. The dude is a beast. He's savage. He's legit. You can follow him on IG at Gus Bust. The kid is awesome. But a couple weeks ago, IMG was playing in Virginia. And Gus and his roommate got in trouble because at 7:30 they weren't on the bus. And so coach ran them. He was upset. I'm talking to Gus because I'm one of his guardians. And I said to him, Gus, what happened? He said, Uncle Jeff, they didn't wake me up. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And Gus, you're 16 years old. You're in 10th grade. You've got 32 Division I basketball scholarship offers already. You got a phone, right? You're waiting for them to wake you up and they didn't wake you up. So now it's their fault that you missed the bus. I'm like, dude, you can't set your own alarm. This way you're not putting the responsibility on other people. So when I'm talking about personal responsibility, it's simple. Don't have expectations. My parents should have been this. My parents should do this. My aunt this. My teacher's this. The police this. My friend's this. Girlfriend this. No. Because when expectations aren't met, you know what happens? We're disappointed. You're going to be disappointed your whole life. But instead of having an expectation, focus on the objective. And the objective is you got to be where you should be, doing what you should be doing at the time you should be doing it. The objective is if there's a test, you're prepared because you wrote it down, you know what's going on. The objective is you had a good breakfast. You came prepared. When you focus on the objective, you're never going to be disappointed. So when I say personal responsibility, again, keep it simple. Be where you should be, doing what you should do at the time you should be doing it. Do what's right, do the best you can, and treat people the way you want them to treat you. And it doesn't matter if they treat you poorly. You treat them right. Kill them with kindness. Have love, no hate. You want to know why? Hate is exhausting and it brings you down. You become the victim. Have love. Seek to lift people up. And when you lift people up, you end up lifting yourself up because it feels better. So number 1, have hope. It's going to be okay. You're going to do good. Number 2, personal responsibility. Number 3, education. I'm not talking about, hey man, get A's and B's in school. I'm not like that. I'd rather you fail a class, but learn something, than get an A and have it memorized where you forget it next week. Listen, you're not going to fail. You do the best you can. You do your homework. I guarantee you're going to pass. But education is not just in the classroom. Education is today. You woke up on your spring break to come listen to some speaker that you may have thought was going to be stupid, but you're walking away and be like, yo, the dude made sense. The dude, he said something that he gets us. I do. The dude, he was passionate about what he was talking about. Yeah, because I had to learn everything to be the man I am today, to be able to share with you what I'm passionate about. So I'm 50 years old. I'm back in college going for a master's and a doctorate. I remember when I was young, I remember when teachers told me that I couldn't even read a book, and now I've written 4 bestsellers. I mean, I wrote them, but then other people edited them. Listen, you could do anything you put your mind to. I really think if you're passionate and you work hard, you can accomplish incredible things. But don't look at education as just being in a classroom, having to go through this. What do you like? What are you passionate about? You don't have to go to college. I think the military is awesome. I'm a Marine. I think the trade industry is incredibly awesome and where a lot of job security is. If you want to go to college and you're like, but I don't know what I want to study, I'll tell you something that you might want to consider thinking about. Computer security. Going to be big, legit, bang money. I would bounce here, go right to college for computer security. I'm telling you, that's something you might want to consider. But education is every day. Education is the police officers that you get to speak to every day. And on a personal level, you get to know them. You get to listen to them. You get to be motivated and inspired by them. Education is your friends, your parents, your teachers, your coaches. Education is YouTube. I know you're on YouTube all the time. Look up. You can access anything, anywhere. Education. Number 4, self-advocacy. Listen, if there's something you want, ask for it. But a lot of us are afraid to ask because we're afraid that people might think we're stupid. Yo, man, that's a stupid question. The reality is when you have a question, 65% of the people around you have the same question, but they're afraid to ask the question for the same reason. We might appear stupid. Hey, who's the hardest person to get to know? Ourselves. And so people that aren't asking the question, they're not trying to be the best that they can be. I want you to be the best that you can be. So I want you to not be afraid of what people might think, what people might say, what people might do. Because if you're concerned about those people, those are the people that aren't taking you to the promised land where you want to get to. Self-advocacy. And you can't be rude or disrespectful. It's like, sir, may I ask you a question? Ma'am, may I ask you a question? Hello, I was wondering, can we talk after? Yeah, well, what is it? Well, I got some things in my mind and I don't know how to deal with it. And I trust you. I value your opinion. And I was wondering if you can spend a couple of minutes that I can share with you. And in saying that, my friends, please understand. It's okay to not be okay. But I don't think it's okay to not be okay and not do something about it. So it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to have these significant trusted adults in your life that you can go to and ask for help. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for me having the courage to say, I don't know, and I'd like to talk to you. My friends, I'm in therapy. I take medication that's prescribed by a mental health professional. And I also practice self-care. I'm a yoga teacher. And here's why. Because you might be living with stress. You might have anxiety. You might be overwhelmed. And so how are you going to cope with that? How are you going to problem solve through the problems that are in your life? Which leads me to self-advocacy, asking for help, which leads me to having a support team. Your support, I don't think you guys realize how lucky you are. You have these police officers in the Orlando police. You don't even have to be in session or in class with them. You could walk on down to the police station and be like, hey, yeah, Officer Jackson is one of my teacher's advisors. I know she might not be here today, but I was wondering if there's another officer like I can talk to. And they'd be like, hey, man, how you doing? I'm good. I was just, listen, I'm in the Operation Positive Direction program. Oh, man, good for you. Yeah, I was just wondering if, like, we could talk for a minute. You have a support team all around you. I think your parents should be the most influential people in your life. And I know for some of you, Jeff, you don't understand. You're right. But I understand a little bit. You have teachers, you have friends' parents. You have youth pastors, you have these police officers. You have people every day. And it's okay to have a network of people that you can always reach out to, that can guide you, that can encourage you, that can support you. Use them. Again, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for my support team. And I love each and every one of them. And I use them, but I'm also present for them. So, in short, I want to just recap a couple things I came to talk to you about. Number one, people come into your life and they plant seeds or pick the fruit. I came into your life, I planted seeds today. But now I got a big day ahead of me. And so what I'm going to say to you is, what seeds were planted? That's the growth mindset. Or the fixed mindset is, I don't know, I didn't think he talked about anything that's special. I didn't really listen. And that's fine. But I promise you, there's going to come a time in your life, and remember these words, that you might look back and remember some fat bald guy that spoke to you through a computer screen. Now, I'm not fat. I lost 100 pounds. I'm like damn sexy. I bring it now. But there's going to come a time in your life when you look back at this moment and you're like, yeah, I remember a dude said something. I wish I showed up and I wish I listened. I wish I wrote some of it down. But you know what? You don't need to, because I think it was recorded. Or you know what? Maybe it wasn't recorded. I recorded it and I'm putting it up on YouTube. And I will tag Orlando Police Department. And you can like Google Jeff Yalden or YouTube Jeff Yalden. It's there. And so I challenge you. This is the challenge that I make for you. Watch this video again. But this time watch it alone. Have the courage to take the time to watch it alone. And remember some of the things I said: growth mindset, fixed mindset, the 4 T's, take time to think, and the victim versus victor mentality. You are capable of anything, and you're smart, and you're beautiful. Spend time getting to know who you are, being comfortable with who you are, and get comfortable with who you are not. Don't be who other people want you to be. I want you to rise up and be who you want to be. And go do you, and go do you awesomely. I don't even know if awesomely is a word, but who cares? Just go do it. And so I want to spend a couple minutes and open up. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer? Questions, comments, anybody? Officer Jackson, anybody? You want to open it up? Any in the chat room? Anybody?
Yeah, I don't see any questions in the chat room, but if you guys have any questions, just unmute yourselves and go ahead and fire away with your questions.
Yeah, if anybody, please, or Officer Jackson, if you and your fellow officers are going to be reaching out to the young bloods after this and a conversation comes up, and I need to elaborate on something more, please reach out to me, because I care more about your young people and the message than I do anything else. So let me know what I can do for you guys, and I really appreciate being given this opportunity.
I do have a question for you, since there isn't any questions right now. I don't see anyone who has a question, but I know you spoke to teens all over the world. What seems to be the number one issue with our young people today? in the book?
I think self-esteem and trying to fit into a world that is superficial. And I say that because I think, and listen, social media is awesome for what it's supposed to be used for, but I think a lot of people use it for reasons other than what it's really intended to be used for. I think people spend too much time and they get jealous looking at other people and finding out what they're doing, and for whatever reason, resources, whatever, their life might not compare. Listen, I think one of the greatest things is to not get caught up in what you see, because I think everybody embellishes their life. Life is not perfect. It never will be perfect. Life is not fair. It never will be fair. But again, you're either the victim or the victor. I think when it comes to education, I think our education system is broken. Not everybody learns the same way. And I think a lot of people lose self-esteem because they think that they might not be smart enough. I wish I knew a little bit about how smart I am now when I was young. When I was young, I learned differently. I still learn differently. But education, again, is every day. But I think self-esteem and self-value. Be a leader in the pack. Don't be a follower. And again, growth mindset. The more you grow every day, reading the newspapers, being objective, I'll tell you what, you know a little bit and you can engage in a conversation with anybody without feeling intimidated. So I think that's really important for your self-esteem. Listen to other people, be objective, don't be judgmental.
Okay, we did have a question for one of our
Yeah,
students, Jamelia. She asked, how were you able to stand in front of people and speak when you had a lot of anxiety?
yeah. Jamelia, is that her name?
Yes.
Man, thank you. I love the question. So, all right, this is going to be too much information. Probably the first 10, 15 years of my life, I would have to shower twice in the morning and I'd go to the bathroom twice in the morning because I'd be freaking out. But then I learned that my anxiety and my fear was just who I am. And so I would start sharing that at the beginning of my program. And I found that me being honest with my audience is really what my audience cared more about than the information I was sharing. Because there's two questions people ask every day. Can I trust you? And do you care about me? And so, Jamelia, let me ask you this question. Did you listen to what I said today? And I'm assuming you're probably saying yes because of the question you asked. So watch this. If you didn't sense that you can trust me, if you didn't sense that I cared about you, you probably wouldn't have listened today. And so every day I want the rest of the young bloods out here, I want the other police officers to every single day show up and know that people are asking, can I trust you? Do you care about me? So every day I want to show up, and I don't care who I'm talking to or who's coming into my office with addiction, with suicidal tendencies. I want them to know right away, I care about you and I got your back. And whether it's 9 in the morning, 9 at night, or 2 in the morning, I got you. Because I promise, you touch the heart, the mind follows. And so I would share from the beginning, I'm struggling right now, but when my heart gets into it, my passion is going to lead me. And I don't care if I make mistakes, because I'm more real than I was being more canned. I don't want to be canned. I'm done if I ever become canned and have to go through the motions. When Officer Jackson called me and said, Jeff, can you spend a couple minutes with our people? I was like, Officer Jackson, dude, right on. Let's do it. What time? When? Because I'm honored to get to share some of my story. I'm honored that you might walk away and be like, you know what? I'm watching this video. Matter of fact, I'm calling one of my friends and say, yo, dude, you need to watch this. The dude like speaks to us. I love it, man. I think there's another, would like to discuss how relevant planting seeds versus taking fruit is oh yes, Orlando Roman. That's a great conversation to have, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to, and good morning to you, Mr. Yalden.
Morning,
I just
sir.
wanted to reemphasize that, how important, like you said, that mindset of looking at the people in your life who are planting seeds, whether they're investing in you, if they have a genuine investment in your life compared to those who are just taking fruit. I think that's very important for our young men and women who are listening today. You have to look in your life right now to the people who you're surrounded with, and are they investing in you, or are they just taking away from you? And you, like you said earlier about self accountability, have to make that decision. Do you want those people to remain in your life if they're contributing, or are they just taking away? That's really a big topic, and I appreciate you bringing that up.
That's right. And some of these people that are picking and picking and pick, you got to like let them go sometimes. But also remember, you can't just have these people serving you. You got to be this person for others. Like, you know, at the end of the day, if you can count on one hand your true friends, I'm lucky. I've got a lot of really good friends. I've got one best friend since high school. And I'll tell you what, tomorrow morning, you know what I got to do? I got to go pick him up from being in detox for the third time in his life. Retired Navy, great guy. But the third time he's relapsed with alcohol, and I'm picking him up at 9 a.m. tomorrow. He's coming to live with me for at least 6 months. And I would do it day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, because he's been that influential in my life, and I'm going to serve him and do everything I can. So remember, it's a good thing to know now who are those people that are planting seeds.